Let's continue our discussion of Ross Douthat's book, Believe. Why Everyone Should Be Religious. Today is the third part of our interpretation. We continue this dialogue between science and faith with Doucet. It's a worthwhile conversation, because Doucet is not a typical believer. Religious faith itself exists in layers. For most people, faith is actually conditional. They light incense in temples, make wishes, and say, "If you help me get this done, I'll donate money afterward." Such behavior, in any religion, is foolish. That is not faith. It is simply a refusal to accept uncertainty. Such a person is not a believer but a gambler. Others believe because they think God must be powerful, often because they've witnessed miracles. For example, during the Taiping Rebellion, Hong Xiuquan founded the God-worshipping society, while Yang Xiuqing pretended to be possessed by God the Father, and after one victorious battle, many joined the cause in awe. But this too is nothing more than submission to power, not genuine faith. True Christian faith does not rely on bribing God, asking Him for favors, or witnessing spectacular miracles. Christians naturally sense the presence of God during prayer, Bible reading, or meditation. For pastors and priests, faith is even more natural. They would say the evidence of God exists within every human heart. Your moral intuition, your conscience. You instinctively know right from wrong. And that intuition itself is the law God has inscribed in human hearts. For Christian thinkers such as Augustine or Aquinas, the presence of God is felt in daily life. They argue that, the best evidence for God's existence is human consciousness. Our ability to understand the order of the world, to pursue truth, to transcend mere animal instincts. This, they claim, is proof that, God created man in His own image. That level of faith is the kind worthy of being science's sparring partner. Doucet has chosen a powerful topic. Consciousness. A mystery that remains unsolved. Christianity and other religions affirm that humans have souls. The philosopher Descartes rigorously argued for mind-body dualism, asserting that mind and body are fundamentally distinct. But modern neuroscience disagrees. Using functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, scientists can scan the brain while people perform tasks, and they have learned to decode brain activity with surprising precision. Your brain shows different activity patterns when you feel hunger, act on impulse, think of a word, or recall a concept. Patterns that AI can now interpret. We know the amygdala processes strong emotions, the hippocampus governs short-term memory, and adolescent impulsiveness is linked to the immaturity of the prefrontal cortex. We also understand how neurotransmitters like dopamine, endorphins, oxytocin, and cortisol relate to happiness, love, bonding, and fear. All evidence points to one conclusion. The brain is a machine. There is no need to invoke a metaphysical soul. Everything appears material. Even traditionally, psychological conditions such as depression, schizophrenia, or ADHD are increasingly seen as physiological, treated with drugs or even implanted electrodes. The results are debated, but the trend is clear. We are leaning toward fixing hardware problems rather than invoking soul problems. In this landscape, what can religion still say? Perhaps quite a lot. For neuroscience leaves a gaping hole. Subjective consciousness. The earlier findings explain brain responses to stimuli. But not consciousness itself. Consciousness is subjective experience. It's the taste of wine, the scent of a flower, the redness before your eyes, the feelings of love, anger, or selfhood. These cannot be reduced to neural circuits. If someone has never seen red, how could you explain what red feels like? It's not just a wavelength of light, it's an experience. Why do we feel a powerful sense of I? What is the self? I am not merely my body or a brain region. Then who am I? Neuroscience can locate brain areas tied to conscious activity and study how alcohol or caffeine alters awareness, but it cannot explain how consciousness arises. When a mother first holds her newborn child, she feels overwhelming love. We know oxytocin plays a role. But we also know that love is not just oxytocin. Words fail to capture the feeling. It must be lived. But where does it come from? Or consider seeing a red rose in the garden and sensing a touch of poetry. Could this poetry be reduced to petals, visual input, or neural chemistry? No. Philosophers argue that subjective experience is irreducible. Consciousness is not a sum of neural firings, but an emergent whole, an independent existence. Christian thinkers call that existence the soul. Neuroscientists can only admit, we cannot yet explain it. When scientists fail, philosophers are asked. When philosophers fail, theologians are invited. Douthat mentions two philosophical explanations of consciousness. First, emergence. Consciousness may emerge from complexity. Emergence means, when a system reaches a certain level of complexity, it exhibits properties that cannot be explained by its parts. An individual ant has little intelligence. But an ant colony behaves like a superorganism. Complex division of labor, astonishing collective feats. Intelligence emerges at the colony level. We wouldn't say an ant colony has a soul. Perhaps consciousness arises from neurons as intelligence arises from ants. Too many layers, too complex to grasp. But no need for God. Douthat rejects this, partly from misunderstanding. He argues that, because a car's motion can be explained by its parts, it is emergent. But a car is a simple system. Its motion is not emergent. Emergence refers only to the inexplicable. Still, I agree, emergence is vague, sometimes a placeholder for ignorance. We should not invoke it too easily. Second, illusion. Daniel Dennett, who passed away last year, argued that consciousness is an illusion. In short, all behavior and decisions are the brain's mechanical computations. Consciousness is a bystander, usually arriving after the fact. Like watching a movie of your own life. Free will is an illusion to comfort us. This illusion evolved to give humans purpose and meaning, ensuring survival. Douthat strongly rejects this. And indeed, the counterargument is clear. If consciousness is a movie, who is the viewer? If it is a deception, who is deceived? This only pushes the question one step back, leaving the irreducible, unresolved. Dennett knew this and answered that even the viewer is an illusion. But the answer is unsatisfying. Here I think Douthat could draw insights from AI. He admits large language models can now write essays, code, even poetry. But insists they lack true consciousness. They are simulators, not selves. I agree. But Douthat overlooks something. The fact that AI can simulate human thought at all is astonishing. 10 years ago, who would have believed that, a simple neural network scaled with enough parameters, could write essays and poetry? Pre-training, fine-tuning, reinforcement learning. What exactly happened? No one knows. Just as no one knows how human consciousness arises. Intelligence is not consciousness. But AI's intelligence is a black box too. And our only explanation is emergence. If Douthat denies emergence, AI is the perfect counterexample. No God, no soul, yet intelligence emerges. Why couldn't consciousness emerge too? Up to this point, we've treated consciousness as a scientific puzzle, without invoking God. But now God enters. Douthat argues that consciousness is not just a puzzle or an illusion. Its real wonder is that it enables us to understand objective reality, explore laws of nature, and create technology. Compared with animals, this is not ordinary physiology. It is a godlike capacity. To illustrate, he tells a story. As a child, you and your siblings invented a secret code to avoid parental detection. It was clever but trivial. A game. Years later, as an adult, you discover a magnificent set of books in the attic. Written in that same code. The books contain astronomy, molecular biology, philosophy, literature. The secrets of the universe. Isn't that too coincidental? How could your childish code happen to unlock cosmic truths? The only explanation. You didn't invent the code. God gave it to you. Not for games, but for uncovering the universe's mysteries. Back to reality. The secret code is human consciousness. Why should consciousness, evolved on the African savanna 300,000 years ago, not only help with hunting and gathering, but also create art and science? Isn't that a grand design? Thus Douthat concludes. Humans are unique. The moment Homo sapiens first experienced subjective awareness, our destiny diverged from animals. Human consciousness is inherently linked to the cosmos. This, he says, is proof that God created man in his image. This is Douthat's trump card on consciousness. I admit it's a powerful analogy. Consciousness is indeed extraordinary. Civilization itself is astonishing. But Douthat's main flaw is failing to distinguish intelligence from consciousness. Intelligence is not equal to consciousness. AI has intelligence without consciousness. Civilization, writing, coding, art, may be fruits of intelligence, not consciousness. Moreover, his understanding of intelligence is shallow. He has not fully grasped recent advances in neuroscience and AI. If Douthat had read Max Bennett's A Brief History of Intelligence, he would see that the key to civilization was the emergence of language. Language is a symbolic system, enabling us to represent complex ideas and perform higher-order reasoning. That, not consciousness, is what separates us from chimpanzees. And AI now possesses this symbolic intelligence too. Why did language lead us to science? Likely no divine plan. Science is not mystical. It is just systematic pattern recognition. If we can represent ideas with symbols, why not natural phenomena with formulas? Overall, Douthat is perhaps one of the most open-minded Christians, well-versed in modern science, though less so in cutting-edge fields. He has not yet internalized a scientific mindset. Still, this is rare and commendable. The scientist's attitude is not to yield to God but to keep searching. Even if God exists, we must uncover the entire blueprint. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.